What's up, Colorado Buffaloes?
Top goals.
We want to win. I don't give a damn about no bowl right now. We want to win. If that's part of the packages at the conclusion of the season, winning, I'm all for it.
Today we've got several great news stories for you, so let's get started. The main one today is about something absolutely epic that Coach Prime just pulled in a competition with his strength and conditioning coaches. Plus, we're going to get to talk about a new transfer target that Colorado just started pursuing and a couple other great stories. So grab you a spicy chicken sandwich, sit back and get ready because this is the prime time for college football. In our first story today, we're going to talk about Coach Prime challenging his staff. Recently, Well Off Media posted a video where Coach Prime challenged the Buffs' strength and conditioning coaches, Stephen Houston and Rendrick Taylor, to a pull-up contest. Now, naturally, Taylor and Houston took on the challenge willingly. Taylor is a former Clemson fullback and went undrafted as a free agent. He signed with the Bucks. He did 16 pull-ups. Houston tried to get out of the competition, but ended up succumbing to the peer pressure, and he did 15 pull-ups. Now, I'm ruining it for you if you haven't seen the video, so I'll just tell you. Coach Prime then went and did 20 pull-ups. Now, obviously, this is just a friendly competition, but at the same time, we think it's pretty amazing and impressive that a 56-year-old Coach Prime put both Colorado strength and conditioning coaches to shame in the pull-up contest. He didn't just beat them. He kept going. He dropped extra reps. And I know it's a friendly competition, and I know that we're probably hyping it a little too much, but it is the offseason, so give us a little bit of grace. Not only did he beat them, it's almost like a three-point shootout or a home run derby when you've got a little bit of extra time on the clock and you just want to let your competition and your opponents know, like, yeah, that's not all I had left in the tank. And doesn't it just so much speak to who Coach Prime is and really who he believes in being as a person? He didn't get to 16 and say, okay, well, I could have gone one more. He didn't get to 17 where he stopped. He said, you know what? I'm going to beat you guys even worse just to remind you who runs things around here, just to remind you who the boss is. As somebody with kids, I do it all the time. My daughter and I will go out and play soccer in the backyard. She's 5. And she may get one goal here or there if I let her. And then I usually score the next 8 or 9 until she's like, Dad, can we please go play something else? Sometimes you just have to let your kids know. Sometimes you just have to let your subordinates know who rules the roost. I also think, on a halfway serious note, that that's just who Coach Prime is as a person. He doesn't let one part of his life go down while he's focusing on others. His health is very important to him. You guys know that he's gone through some circulation, some health issues with his feet, but he obviously still stays in incredible shape. This is obviously a guy who played professional sports at the same, 2 different ones at the same time, won all the accolades you could ever want, is in the NFL Hall of Fame. But how many guys stay in this good of shape this many years after? You guys know when Coach Prime stopped playing football. It was a long time ago, decades ago. And he's still in just as good of shape as anyone else in that building right now. Kind of shows a little bit about him, doesn't it? You think about him as a coach who absolutely wants to do his best in every aspect there. Hiring coaches, recruiting talent, working the transfer portal, game planning, keeping the team together, all those things. And you think about him as a man of faith and a man of family. He is very focused there, talks about his relationship with Christ all the time, talks about his family all the time, brags on his family all the time, has obviously raised really good kids who are very successful in the different careers that they've chosen. And so he's got time for those. But he also has time to make sure that he's doing what's right when it comes to physical fitness. He doesn't let one area of his life lag behind while the others are pressing forward. And though we can joke and talk about, oh, he beat these guys' tail and he whipped them in the competition, all that stuff. Yeah, that's fun. That's funny. It's enjoyable to do. We like having laughs. We like having fun. You know, he enjoyed it from that perspective too. But it does speak a little bit deeper to the person that he is. And I think it's special to see. And shout out to Coach Prime. I will not be taking him on in any competition ever in anything because I'm afraid that he'd kick my tail too. Next, let's talk about a new transfer target that Colorado is going after. Now, recently it was announced that Colorado is among the programs in pursuit of former Louisville defensive tackle Jeffrey Clark. Now, Buff Stampede reported this first, the Colorado 247 site, but after entering the portal, Jeffrey Clark received 6 Power 5 offers for his final college season. Now, Clark played in all 14 games for Louisville this year. He had a significant impact despite being limited. Tackles and sacks were a little bit lower, but he had a very successful high school career, a very successful multi-year career at Louisville, who Louisville continued to get better as the season went on and as the years that Clark was there went on. In fact, they played in that ACC championship against Florida State this year. You guys know there's so much controversy against Florida State, and maybe some of the reason they got left out was the way they looked in that championship game. Louisville was on the other side of that. Clark was playing in that game. Clark only received FCS offers coming out of high school, but has certainly worked his way up and did a good job at Louisville. Colorado is very much eager and looking to add Clark to their already large transfer class, with Coach Prime looking for another defensive tackle. We talked to you recently about Bishop Thomas, and we got some comments. We got some questions. Hey, what is going on with Thomas? I will tell you very honestly, I don't know. If I did, I don't know that I would release that information anyway, just out of respect to not only Bishop, but also Coach Prime and the Colorado football program. So I don't know. To answer the questions here, again, I read your comments. I can't respond to everything at all times. You guys leave a lot of them, and I appreciate it, but I don't know. And again, they didn't disclose it, so it wouldn't be fair to me to do that, even if I did know, but I'm not sure. But there is some question around whether or not Bishop Thomas will be back this year. And if you don't have him back, getting Clark in, another Power 5 transfer from a very successful and good team, a Louisville team that, again, went to the ACC championship, had a very successful season, won 10 games, that would be a huge addition if you could get him added to your roster. Several teams after him. See if the Buffs can land him. Keep an eye on that prospect there. Finally, let's talk about a group of transfers that visited Colorado this past weekend. Now, once again, shout out my guy Adam over there at Buff Stampede, Colorado 247. Does a great job. But Colorado had 18 transfer commits already and then had 3 more visitors this weekend. DJ Lundy was the first one. He is a linebacker from Florida State who is currently committed to Colorado. Jaden Harrison, he's a playmaker from Marshall. He's expected to visit Colorado and was a first-team All-American return specialist. And then LeJante Wester, a receiver and returner from Florida Atlantic. We talked about him in a previous visit. He was also set to visit Colorado this weekend and was a first-team All-AAC selection. All 3 visitors have 1 year of eligibility remaining, and Colorado may be pretty selective moving forward in each of these recruitments because the space is becoming more and more limited. You only have so many roster spots, only so many scholarships you can hand out. But don't be surprised if one of the 2 uncommitted prospects does end up pulling the trigger. This is the second time we've talked about Wester. I'm not saying that's a done deal by any means. We usually don't mention guys multiple times, though, that we don't think the Buffs have a really good shot at landing. We'll also see what happens with Harrison. I think he is a very, very special playmaker. Could be really, really nice for the Buffs in the return game. Special teams is very important. It doesn't always get all the love that offense, defense gets. You can certainly change a game. You can certainly turn a game on its head with special teams. Hey, I appreciate you guys for tuning in today. I appreciate you laughing with us. I appreciate you sticking around and getting the meat of the video too, the info on recruiting and transfers to keep an eye on this week. You might have a couple of transfer pops even this week. Don't be surprised if we're back on here in a couple of days giving you the info on that. Hopefully your week's off to a good start already. Do us a favor. If you haven't already, hit that subscribe button. Join us here at the Prime Time for College Football. We certainly do appreciate everyone who has already made that decision, and we appreciate you guys tuning in faithfully, checking out our videos, checking out our content. We got plenty more coming for you. Year is young. We're going to have well over 300 videos for you this year, so make sure that you're around and locked in with us. Thank you guys, as always. for watching the prime time for college football.